Undercover FBI agents, posing as Palestinians, sat in a dark alley dealing with suspected arms and weapons suppliers. This is very much a scene of a Hollywood blockbuster movie, yet it seems that the FBI have been caught out, as it's been exposed that this scenario played out for real as the FBI attempted to snare a couple of dealers in the US. The story, released by The Intercept, has revealed that the FBI Hamas sting against the Boogaloo Boys, a far-right anti-US government movement, appears to have been revealed and condemned by many as the US become ever more desperate to control, deter and detain American dissidents within their own backyard. With the anniversary of 9/11 attacks on the New York World Trade Center very much on the minds of those impacted by that eventful day, national security in the US has tightened more than ever, following the intelligence failure by the United States, with the FBI alone arresting some 340 people in planned stings since 2001. However, it seems that the stings, although impressive in numbers, only appears to be targeting the most vulnerable and hence easiest options of targets, with stereotypical profiling playing a part in just who's targeted by the FBI and other US law enforcement and intelligence agencies. The agents involved in the sting appear to have posed as members of Hamas and have attempted to buy weapon converters from the two unsuspecting members of the Boogaloo Boys. Yet, Hamas have condemned the actions, pointing out that Hamas is a Palestinian national movement that only operates within Palestine and has no intentions of being involved in any operations on US soil. This hence raises the question as to just why the US are adapting such desperate measures to contain groups within the US. And why did they choose to come in disguise as Hamas members in the first place?
This is one of the most ridiculous things I've heard the FBI doing in a long time. Posing as Hamas members to trap members of a local internal domestic organization called the Boogaloo Boys, which is certainly an anarchist group that seeks the overthrow of the U.S. government. But why the FBI wanted to somehow tie them to Hamas is anybody's guess. It could be because the U.S. government continually wants to demonize Hamas, and the U.S. government has named it a terrorist organization, which it is not. But by associating it with a U.S. domestic terrorist organization, perhaps it felt that it would help to cement in the minds of the U.S. populace that Hamas is a terrorist organization. Again, it is not.
It's been called the world's second oldest profession, and yet today, the act of intelligence and espionage plays a vital part across the world, as each nation uses this branch of government to build real-time models of what's happening, as well as using it to protect their respective national interests. There exists, however, a very grey area in the field of intelligence. Whereas the government will set out aims and objectives as to what intelligence they require, it's the collection of intelligence that can lead to some serious questions being raised as to the ethical and social practice as to how this is achieved, as it is this part of the intelligence cycle that's the most contentious. The US have been known to employ some questionable methods of intelligence collection in the past, with many of them of course coming from informers, agents and operatives on the field. Add to this the notion of electronical and technological intelligence gathering, and so far all appears correct. However, the US have been known to employ less traditional forms of gathering, including physical forms of information extraction from prisoners, as accounted by former inmates of Guantanamo Bay and other US detention camps. The US are also having to deal with the emerging phenomenon of homegrown discontent against the American government, and has seen the US actively encourage the deployment of spies within extremist groups both on the far left and far right of the political spectrum. But are intelligence failures hence enough then to merit such tactics? With 9/11 being a clear example of such events, could there then yet be worse to come? And could the tactics used by agencies lead to the entrapment of innocent people in the United States?
There have been many cases of Middle Eastern men who have been kidnapped by the U.S. government, taken to so-called rendition sites. They've been tortured for months when they have had no contact whatsoever with or no affiliation with any terrorist group. They have a name that is similar to someone who is suspected of terrorist activities, or they resemble someone, and the U.S. government takes them up, tortures them for months, and then when it finds that they have nothing to say, it will drop them off in some other city and leave them alone there.